Hello everyone, welcome to Artful Garden Ideas. Today we talk about the complete guide to mountain orchids, the most natural looking way to pot your orchids. There are many types of orchids, do better mounted than potted ones. Probably the poster child orchid for loving mounts is the Cattleya orchids. Cattleyas can to be very large and very well suited to mounting. For your first mount, I recommend the Braswella orchid. These orchids are in the Cattleya family. They are fairly drought tolerant and thus the recommendation when in bloom. Braswella orchids have no matter which orchid you choose, make sure it is healthy with a vigorous root system. You want to orchid that is in active growth, meaning that no roots are emerging. Mounted orchids, the way nature intended. In nature, many tropical orchids are epiphytic and grow on trees or branches with long, plump roots extending far from the plant. A pot confines a natural meandering root system. Many orchid flowers grow pendulously and the stalks are staked for easy viewing. The flowers of mountain orchids, when displayed from a higher vantage point, do not require staking and look as they would in the wild. And the other one is versatility. When putting orchids on, thing that may come to mind is versatility. Orchids can be potted in traditional pot or even without a pot in a moss ball kokedama style, or they can be mounted. A mounted orchid can either be hung or placed on a tabletop, while mounts that are hung take up less space, providing more room. More orchid tabletop mounts are easier to make as the mount doesn't have to be equipped with a hanger. Just be sure to protect your surface if you opt for a tabletop mount. Mounts last longer than pots. Healthy orchids grow quickly with vigorous root system, making it necessary to repot the orchid. Orchids that are mounted rather than potted can live for many years. On a slab of wood, orchid roots can stretch out and the rhizome of sympathil orchids can lengthen and grow beyond the constrainer of a pot, while orchid aesthetics are encouraged and thrilled to see the rhizome making its way over the edge of the pot. It also indicates that repotting is in order, not so. For mounted orchids, why not mount your orchids like everything else in life? There are pros and cons to mounting. The most important drawback is that mounted orchids need more water than potted orchids. Not only do mounted orchids need more frequent, perhaps daily watering, as their roots dry out much more quickly than potted orchids, but they need more water in the air. If you don't have the time to dedicate to daily watering of the ability to providing high humidity, you may want to for mounting your orchid. If these limitations are not a problem for you, you will be able to enjoy orchid displayed in a natural way, delay potting, postpone remounting for years, and if you decide to hang your mount, you can free up space for many more orchids. And the other thing, when to mount an orchid. When to mount an orchid, the same rules apply as potting. The best time to repot and to mount is when new roots are just beginning to grow. For many orchids, this is their new roots help ensure that the orchids will adapt well to the mount and recover faster for the trauma of putting mounting. Material for mounting an orchid. When selecting your mount, you want to choose a mount that will last. The beauty of a mounted orchid is that by mounting you won't have to worry about repotting. Pick a wood slab that allows for a several year growth. If you are using a rounded section of wood and you want a flat side to rest against a wall, if you are hanging it or to sit flat on a surface, you will need to cut the wood in half the long way using an electric saw or hatchet. This will give you two mounts. Hang the mount, drill a hole through the top of the wood and thread the wire through the hole. Cut the wire with the wire cutters, leaving enough length to create a loop for which to hang the mount, and it twist the end of the wire together using the pillar twist for to form a hanging loop and the end. Secure the orchid to the mount. To start, soak your orchid for about 20 minutes so that the roots become more palatable. Gently remove the old potting media from the orchid roots. Those all the old potting media in the garbage using the sanitized Monsi shears snipe off and discard any dead roots. Soak the shebagam moss or coconut fiber in water. It takes about 20 minutes for the moss fiber to hydrate. Gently squeeze moss fiber to remove excess water to provide moisture to the orchid roots. Source a pad of the moistened sphagnum moss coconut fiber to the mount by wrapping the fishing line round the mount and the moss or fiber. Spread the roots around the wood slab and cover them with a thin layer of moistened sphagnum moss or coconut fiber for optimal placement. Keep in mind the direction of the root and possible growth. Wrap the fishing line around the slab, moss, and orchid to secure the orchid to the mount. Use care to keep the fishing line from cutting into the roots. Once the orchid has been picked clean of the old potting media and dead roots have been removed, place a bit of moss on the mount to pad the orchid. While applying the mousse, wind the fishing line over the mousse to secure the orchid and the mousse to the mount. That's it. Orchid is ready for display. PS. Did you notice the mishap the mount got anyway from me while wrapping the invisible thread around the mount, and so the tip of the flower spike broke off? So sad. I've been waiting and waiting for this orchid to finish blooming so I could repot it. Then before the last bloom died and new flower spikes start growing, the potting mix was in bad shape and didn't want to put off putting it an a longer. And thanks for watching. Please subscribe this channel. I hope you will enjoy this video and he will can help you to build a orchids plant.